Hi there, and welcome to the Mindset Mastery Summit, an online training summit where we are discussing how to shift your mindset for greater joy, inner peace, and resilience in order to live your best life. I'm your host, Shelly Roberts. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Megan Tull, passion expert and entrepreneur success strategist. Megan Tull is an entrepreneur success strategist, transformational leader in business and life, an author, and an international speaker. Megan is CEO and founder of Silver Lining Concepts, LLC, an innovative business coaching and consulting firm. Her passion and expertise is to help high-achieving, success-conscious business professionals and entrepreneurs to eliminate the struggle and overwhelm by redesigning their career or business to align with their unique value and true self. She helps them to discover their brilliance, allowing them to authentically attract their ideal clients with ease, generating more profit and more fun in their career business, all while making a difference in the world. She's a best-selling author of The Passion Belief Method, Own Your Own Value and Earn Your Worth in Business, and is a regular contributor for the Huffington Post and the Business Journals. She has been featured as an expert on CBS and Fox. Megan, I am so glad to have you on the summit today. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Shelly. I'm so excited to be here.
So can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and the Passion Belief Method?
Sure. Well, I've been an entrepreneur for about 25 years now, and been doing some coaching and consulting for a good part of that as well. So I've learned a lot of lessons along the way of my entrepreneurial journey. And then also through working with thousands of clients over the years, I've really put together a method, what I call my passion belief method, which really assists people to really stepping into their power. And I call it 5 steps to your empowered self. So yes, this is kind of like a compilation of what I've learned and the process that I take my clients through to really, step into their power, to really become confident and a leader in their life and business. So the passion belief method has the 5 steps and really encompasses everything required to become aligned with your purpose and live a passionate, fulfilled, and abundant life as that empowered, confident leader. So the first step in the passion belief method is to recognize any self-sabotaging beliefs. I think many of us have limiting beliefs or self-sabotaging beliefs that really come in and sabotage our success before it can even happen, and definitely prevents us from reaching our true potential. So that's kind of the first step, is to take a look at the blocks or barriers or those limiting beliefs that may be keeping you stuck, playing small at least. That's what happens. But on a bigger scale, it keeps us stuck and keeps us from reaching that true potential. And these limiting beliefs really live in our subconscious mind, and they dictate our decisions. They definitely dictate our actions. So that's the first step, is to really recognize any limiting beliefs. The second step is to consciously decide to let them go, knowing that they're no longer serving you. So if you're in the process of becoming the best version of yourself and you have goals and dreams and aspirations, you cannot reach those goals with that same way of thinking, with that same belief system. So you have to make a decision to let those beliefs go. And we're going to actually be talking about that a little bit later, to go into that a little bit more in depth. And then the third step is to clarify your passion. And I interchange passion and gift, because I believe that we are all blessed with tremendous gifts. And that when we're living our passion, we're utilizing our gifts. So some people, especially women, they're not too clear on what their gifts are and what they're passionate about, because we're always giving to everybody else. Giving to our spouse, giving to our family, giving to the people around us. And sometimes that passion lies dormant within us. So I encourage people to ignite their passion and, learn what they're passionate about, or kind of rediscover that. So you can do that by asking yourself 3 simple questions. What fires you up is the first question. So what do you get super excited about? The second question is, what do you do that you can't help but do? So it comes naturally to you. And the third one is, what do people tell you you're really good at? because sometimes we're so close to our gifts or what we're passionate about that we don't really see it as anything unique or special. So sometimes it takes somebody outside to say, wow, Shelley, you're really good at this. You really need to do more of that or to help people with that. So that's the third step, is to clarify your passion, your gift. The fourth step is to define your priorities in your values. Because when you are living your life on purpose, it's really important to make sure you're including the things that are most important to you. So especially entrepreneurs, they tend to just, drive forward and work towards that goal. And often they are not focusing on the things that are most important to them. So really making sure that you're conscious about making your priorities your priority and working your business or your career around those priorities. So get clear on that. I usually like to start with 10. Like, what are the first, the 10 things that are most important to you, your priorities, your family, your health, whatever it might be for you. And then you can break it down and shorten that list. And then we have our values. And those are kind of rules that we live by, the things that are important to us. And those you really want to get down to your core values. What are your core values? Because then when it comes to decision making or when you get stuck, you always want to go back. Is this in alignment with my values? And when you're making any decision, it's so important to make sure that's the case. And then the fifth and final step to the passion belief method is to start adopting your new healthy and empowered beliefs. I come up with 8 passion beliefs, and these are right out of my book, The Passion Belief Method. And these 8 passion beliefs, I don't know if you can see these here on my little passion belief cards, but the first one is, I offer tremendous value. So that's the first passion belief that you want to adopt. The next one is, I have an empowered relationship with money. The third one is, I am worthy of love and acceptance. And then we have, I am a gifted and talented individual. And then we have, I am a confident decision maker. And we have, I deserve a prosperous and abundant life. I am a leader that others will follow. And then finally, I have a strong desire to follow my dreams. So those are my 8 passion beliefs. So once you get rid of those negative beliefs, those limiting beliefs, now you have to really adopt these empowering beliefs that really are going to allow you to step into your power, allow you to become the best version of yourself, your empowered self. So that's a little bit of an insight to my passion belief method.
Oh, that's amazing. So that applies to not only entrepreneurs, but any kind of success endeavor that you want to be successful at.
Yeah, if you want to be just a leader in your life. I mean, we're not even talking about business or career necessarily. It could just be, if you want to live a life of purpose, a life that you're feeling fulfilled and joyful and passionate. It really applies to everyone.
So how do you apply it in when somebody is burdened with circumstances that are not especially positive? Are there aspects that can be applied in those kind of circumstances too?
Yeah, I mean, really, when you are faced with adversity, often what comes with that is, you're dealing with those feelings and emotions, and often you're sad or frustrated or grieving, or maybe you're fearful. So those are all thoughts that are limiting and are going to keep you stuck kind of in that victim mode. Now, it's important to go through a process of grieving or kind of dealing with the situation and not, tucking those emotions away. But then you come to a point where you have to make a decision. Okay, am I going to stay in this space, or am I going to learn from this situation and be able to move on? So, going through the steps of the passion belief method will really allow you to get from where you are ultimately to where you want to be.
Do you think that point of decision when you realize that you're ready to move on, is that the key transformational moment or pivot point in the process?
So I think that's the start. I think people who are um, on their journey to success or have reached success have certain things in common. The first one is they have a burning desire within them to want or be something more or to change their situation, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is they're willing to take responsibility. That's a big one. You have to take responsibility for where you are. You are where you are because of your own choices, your own decisions, your own actions, right? And sometimes we don't want to admit that. We want to blame it on our circumstance. We want to blame it on other people, right? Because of so and so, I'm in this situation or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, it's really because of our own decisions and choices where we are in our life, and that's okay. You don't want to beat yourself up over it, but you also can, accept that and take that responsibility and know that, guess what? You're also responsible for your future results, and no one can take that away from you. And then the third one is that you're willing to do whatever it takes. So you've made the decision and you're taking the responsibility. Now you're going to take the necessary action steps to get from where you are to where you want to be. So, you can't just want it or will it to happen. You have to actually take action. So, we've heard about, the law of attraction, right? Which is super powerful, but they don't really talk about that action piece, which is super important. So, but your actions have to be in alignment with your new belief system, right? And if your goal is to reach this certain level, you have to kind of think and act like that person first, right? And start working towards that.
What if you were in a spot where like we accept, okay, we need to aspire to be that and take steps towards becoming that new successful version of ourselves, but what if we don't believe that we deserve it? Or what if, deep in our heart of hearts, we don't have the self-value that we need to get there?
Yeah, so that's a great point, because I think a lot of women struggle with this. They feel like they're not worthy of success, or maybe they're fearful of, they want to be more successful, but they are maybe afraid of being too successful because somebody in their family might be jealous or upset. So there's a lot of reasons why we don't really drive passionately and confidently towards our goals sometimes, but often it is those limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm not worth it. I'm not talented enough, whatever lies we tell ourselves. But often too, it's truly, and this is one of the biggest things that I've noticed, I think the biggest challenge that especially entrepreneur space, but certainly women in corporate face the fact that they don't truly understand the unique value that they offer. And so what happens is then they don't have the confidence to present themselves in a powerful way, and they don't ask for what they're worth, or they don't charge what they're worth. So they're often giving their time, gifts, and talents away instead of, really getting paid generously for their gifts and for their value. So a lot of the work that I do is, really helping people understand that God has blessed you with tremendous gifts, and those gifts provide unique value. And the sooner you can realize, what your unique value is, and I'm not talking about strengths and skills. We've done a lot of those Strength Finder and Skill Finder tests, right? So we can put on a resume all of our strengths and skills, but at the end of the day, that's ego-based, right? That's all about us. But what do those strengths or skills represent? What is the value that actually provides for the company that we work for? What is the value that provides for a potential client that we may be working with? That's what you want to look at. And when you understand the value that you provide somebody, that is when you feel the confidence in really asking to get paid what you're worth, right? And you're like, wow, I'm pretty awesome. I deserve to get paid generously for providing this tremendous value to somebody, right?
Yeah, I would add to that and say it's more than the realization, it's the actual believing
Yeah.
that your unique gifts do have value and that you do have a unique contribution to provide, and it's worth a lot.
Yeah. And when
Having
you believe it, Shelley, then you have the confidence to present it or share it. So, and be able to articulate it in a way that's powerful to your, your manager at work or to a potential client, right? And it's really coming from that place of service, not ego, like sharing from your heart and coming from that place of really wanting to help.
So if there's been a long-term life pattern in some way of either negativity or some kind of a negative pattern that we recognize maybe we're in this pattern, but we just don't know how to shake it. Do you have a suggestion or a technique or advice for those kind of circumstances?
Yeah. So I'm going to share a story about my personal life because I think everything shifted for me when I really got to this point in my life where I've always been very confident. I've always been very goal oriented and driven, and I've had many successes in my life. But I was at a point where I was just feeling like, why does everything have to be so difficult? Why does it have to be a struggle? Like I felt like I was pushing that metaphoric rock up a hill constantly. And I'm like, I could do this because I'm strong and confident, but come on, how long do I have to push that rock up the hill, right? So I got to a point where I just kind of hit rock bottom where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I was in a very unhealthy relationship. My business, which was, doing really well financially, started going south very fast. And I was getting to a place where I'm like, something is off here, right? So what I came to the realization on when I just was willing to just kind of step away from my life for a moment and go within and start looking at what was really going on, I realized that I was always doing what I felt like I needed to do to pay the bills, to reach the goal, to whatever it was to move forward, right? Versus really focusing on what I truly wanted to do. And so when I just made that clarification, I'm like, wow, okay, what does that look like? What do I really want in my life? So I took some time to get clear on what I was passionate about, what I felt my gifts were, how I can best serve people with my gifts. And I really started to get into alignment with those things and ultimately then in alignment with my purpose. And when you're able to do that, when you're able to get into alignment with your true self, your passion and your purpose, that is when you start getting clear on your path and you can start setting new goals that are in alignment with that passion and that purpose. And guess what? When you are in alignment, opportunities start attracting themselves to you. People start attracting themselves to you where you don't have to work so hard to find those opportunities or find your next client or find that job. Those things start attracting to you because you're in alignment. And that's when you can tap into the flow and the ease and the grace and abundance that's out there waiting for you.
Oh, that's so amazing. That is amazing. So the key is to go within and identify those values and the beliefs and the passions, like you said, and then live in alignment with them. And then things fall into place and flow and ease and grace for you.
Yes. And it sometimes feels like magic, and it's not magic, but I really think, women especially have this amazing intuition, and you could use that intuition as your inner guide and really check in, if you're like, oh, should I go this path or make this decision or not, or take this opportunity or not take this opportunity. You really just need to check in and go with your gut, because you are going to get guidance, any guidance that you need in any decision you need to make in your life or business at any time.
Women tend to have a stronger sense of intuition maybe than others do, and should
Yes.
maybe tap in and use it in ways that help them to guide or focus in on what their values and beliefs and what's important to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have a couple minutes left. Do you have a free gift that you're offering for the audience that you could tell us about?
Yes, I do. So I have my Passion Belief Method assessment, which is a tool that we talk about in the book. And usually I reserve it just for people who buy the book, but I'd love to offer it to the listeners for the summit. So this tool is really powerful. It's an online assessment that you can take to discover what your passion belief factor is. So where you stand when it comes to your self-worth, your value, your confidence level, your relationship with money, and the level of passion in your life and business. You're going to discover if you are a passionista, which is where we all want to be, or a striver, which is kind of in the middle, or a self-saboteur, which is down here. So once you determine where you are and what your passion belief factor is, then there's some tips and strategies on how you can work your way up to that passionista level. So it's an online assessment that just takes a few minutes and you'll learn a lot about yourself. So that is going to be my gift to the listeners today.
Well, thank you so much. And I think that self-awareness is the first step to being able to get on the path of ease and grace that you described.
Yes, it's accepting where you are, right? Taking that responsibility, but then making that decision to make a change and really get clear on what you want, get clear on your vision moving forward, and then, do everything that it's going to take to get there.
That is so powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
So I think what we will do is post the link at the bottom of the video. So definitely for the audience, check it out. And thank you so much, Megan, for being with us on the summit today. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Oh, it was so much fun. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you. And definitely check out Megan's book. It'll go into depth on her assessment. And also look for our next interviews in your inbox. We'll see you again soon on the Mindset Mastery Summit.
Bye, everyone.